So there's definitely a need to read those letters carefully. Some of them give additional time to file, or they'll give you a time frame within which to file. Some of them don't, and then you have to know on your own what that deadline is. And I don't know that I've found any consistency with that, with some of the notice letters saying you will have until, however many days after this letter, or you will have until the end of the appeal period, or it doesn't say at all. Mm-hmm. Do you know, have you found a rhyme or reason to that?
So for the VCAA notices where they're asking for medical records or 4192s, things like that, it's usually 30 days. But that doesn't mean if you don't file it within those 30 days, you file it on the 31st day, they're not going to review it. It's not like the board where if you don't file your evidence within 90 days, they're not going to review it. If they hadn't made a decision on it, if they haven't made a decision, then they'll still review that. Like you said, though, a lot of the times they're wrong. So sometimes they'll ask you, oh, you claimed toxic exposure, give us some examples, and you have conceded exposure for Agent Orange, or you served in the Gulf War and you have the new concessions due to the PACT Act. I respond in a general response saying, we have nothing more to add. Or they're asking for medical records from a doctor. You've sent all the records. Mm-hmm. General response, I have nothing to add. Move forward with making a decision. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important because sometimes they will continue to wait until you respond. And if I have nothing to give, I'm going to respond and say, make a decision, because I don't want them to continue to wait for something when I've already sent it in and they're not going to figure that out on their own.
Oh, that's another, large situation as it relates to confusing veterans who are not represented, right? So you're the veteran and you receive this letter and you're like, well, I think I've already done that, but they're telling me I need to do it again. What do I need to do now? And it doesn't really, usually they give a little bit of information, but it's very vague, it's very general, and they're not letting the veteran know what they need. I have an example, it just happened relatively recently where I have a case, veteran is already service connected for condition with an effective date that we agree to. It's the original date of the claim. There's no issue there. We've been on appeal for years for the appropriate evaluation going back to that effective date. Just got one of these letters. The veteran was the one that notified me of it because she saw it before I did. Because it was one of those letters that would come in and someone in your office will see it and go, this wasn't really necessary. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't seen it yet. And she's like, they're asking for information about my medical records going back to the effective date that we're trying to prove. And so, I dig through the file trying to figure out why this could possibly, are there other claims hanging out there that I'm, not aware of? Maybe she filed that I didn't have any say in what was going on, or I was not there when she was filing it. There's nothing. It was just they're asking for information that's completely unnecessary.
Yes. I don't know if sometimes there's just a button they push.
Yes.
Where they just send these letters out regardless of if you've responded to them or not. But that's why, one, really review the letters, and if you filed it, don't worry about it. Respond saying, please move forward. I've already filed this evidence on this date if you know. But also know that they do make a lot of mistakes. I've had situations where they'll say, this is invalid higher level review form because you already filed a higher level review for this. And it's, well, no, it's not, because that higher level review led to a duty to assist error and went to supplemental claim. Yep. And a supplemental decision came out. So you can file a higher level review to that new supplemental, even though you originally filed a higher level review.
Yes.
So make sure you really read the letters and reach out for help to a professional to provide information on it.